Justin Jefferson was on Paul Allen's show on KFAN talking about a myriad of topics, but of course, they hit on the quarterback conversation. And I'm going to play for you what he said. I'm going to play the whole bite so no one accuses me of cherry picking. And just so we're clear, the context was Paul asked him essentially, Kyler throws a pretty good ball, doesn't he? So that's the setup. Here was the answer.
He understands the game. He understands the defenses. He understands just how to put touch on the ball, just enough to where it gets to where it got to go without making it difficult for us. So he understands the game a lot more just because he's been in the game for a couple of years now. So he kind of throws the ball before you even get out that break. And,
Well, that's good.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
he throws you open.
For sure.
Well,
He
we can
throws you
use
open
that.
for sure.
2008.
Yeah. So
Yeah, story.
he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy, and he's a competitor,
Yeah.
just like me. So I'm looking forward to see how good he do in training camp. I'm looking forward to JJ seeing his improvements and seeing the different things that he has picked up over the all season. But I'm excited for the competition.
Okay. I think the easy thing for people to do here is take it as a comparative analysis and run with a hot take. Kyler's awesome. I want to see what JJ's working on, good versus bad. I think that's baseline easy. But you and I were texting back and forth, and you actually honed in on a specific part of the answer that you care about.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that what he said about the like throwing the football before you come out of your break. Well, I'll take a step back. It is interesting, and maybe it's maybe I am no psychologist, right? I'm not a psychotherapist, but I
You're
think
not?
I believe it or not, I do not have any extra letters behind my name. But I think it is interesting that when you give an answer, you're given a comparative analysis. Let's just say you like two foods. If you really like one food item, you're going to see, oh man, it was this, that, the other. You have
Sure.
like a running list of things that you really like about it because you love it. Same thing about a movie. Hey, Cy, what'd you like about that movie? Oh man, let me tell you about like this character and this plot twist and this and that. Oh man, there's a huge thing that happens at the end. If you're kind of like, meh, you're like, yeah, it was you speak in generalities. It's like it was good, it was fine. It was it was a fine experience, whether it's a movie or something that you ate.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like that's how his answer was with the quarterback situation. Hey, let me go through a list of things that I like about Kyler, and then it came to JJ. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just I'm just excited to see what he's working on."
The only thing I
That's
will
it.
push the only thing I will push back on that is he was teed up by Paul to say, like, Kyler throws a good ball, right? And so I think he could have just answered the Kyler thing and ignored JJ altogether. So I think the fact that he put
Fair.
JJ on the end and he said good things about JJ in the past is why I'm not running with that comparative analysis. I agree with what you're saying, but I'm way more fascinated by the your point with the specifics of the answer about Kyler.
Yeah, so let's get into that. So I think every great quarterback at any level, it's the anticipation. If you can
Mhm.
anticipate where the receivers are going to be based on the coverage that you have deduced down into what they're running, that's the mark of a really highly processed quarterback. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
saying that the accuracy's there or the velocity and the touch and all the layering, all those quarterbacking things that we're talking about these days. I don't care if that's there or not. But if you can process the fact that I'm going to deliver this football and start my throwing process before the receiver's even out of his break, so that when he does snap his head around, the ball's there. And even if the coverage is good and tight, then it's going to be really, really hard for the defender to make a play on the ball. And I just think that, man, if he already feels that way with Kyler, I think that That's something that we just didn't see with JJ last year. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying that he can't ever get there, but that is part of the maturity, the experience, and the development of any quarterback. And if he's saying that Kyler's already at that point and it's something that as a receiver that he appreciates, then man, I just feel like he is, many steps ahead of where JJ's at and just in this whole competition.
Uh, w I thought kind of the same thing, and if I, like, list all the broader stuff, like, that was your main focus, but if you list the broader qualities he listed in Kyler, to me, I I kinda thought it was one of the more honest answers we've heard anywhere about this competition, because what I thought it was Justin putting the criteria on the board. Like, I'm not saying this is the reason JJ's gonna get it and or excuse me, Kyler's gonna get it and JJ's not. What I'm saying is I think the things that he elocuted that he liked about Kyler were specific. And if JJ's going to catch up to him or compete for the job now, or for that matter, in the future with this team, that's the criteria. That's what's on the board. You know, Jefferson drives winning. He's an engine. You know, he's one of the few elite engine drivers in the league. You got to get the ball in his hands and in order to be able to get the ball in his hands, this is the criteria. So I agree with you. I thought it was more about him putting on the board what is necessary. And now whether it's like JJ's good, it's not that. It's like JJ, this is where you need to go to if you're going to compete now or in the future.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to lay it all out. Is now that we actually have not just some coach speak from either players or coaches, we actually have, a list from the best wide receiver in the league of
Yeah.
I think something that he sees and he appreciates from any quarterback. I think,
Yeah.
Kirk had it, Sam
Hmm.
had it. I think that there's parts of Carson Wentz that definitely has. And I think that this iteration of Carson Wentz in this offense, he certainly probably would have it now that he's been in the system for over a year. So I definitely think that you're right the way that you laid it out. That now we kind of have something from today all the way in through this competition through training camp. We're going to be looking at those metrics.
Can I sidebar here for a second on how great Justin Jefferson is? And
I thought you were going to sidebar on eloquated. I've never heard that word before, and I was like, wow, that sounds really
don't
fancy.
if you start picking apart my words, you realize how much of a dumb hick I am, and I can't have you doing that
Yeah,
on
but
camera.
eloquate is not dumb hickey.
I
That's
don't know
like
that it's a
whole
real
that's
word.
like that's like 400 level vocabulary.
I don't e I it might be a made up word, like, "It's antiquated." I don't know that it's real. But
See, I'm so dumb hickey that I actually think it's a word.
yeah, it was meant for you and your big meaty brain. And not meat like there's a lot to it, but like, "I want
There's
meat." So I just think the thing I've been thinking about with Jefferson as he's kind of done this media tour and now he's got his production company. We know he's the best wide receiver in the league, but it's kind of this LeBron thing. Like, say what you want about LeBron, but LeBron has been one of the most famous people on the planet for 2 decades. He's been amazing in the community. He's been amazing on the court, not within a million miles of a scandal. Great family guy, great businessman. And JJ, like, the worst thing you can say about LeBron is he was a child in the way he announced to go to another team and he's petty on Twitter. Jefferson is so good in the media. He's so, like the way he handled himself last year,
Yeah.
he's so good in the locker room. He's unbelievable in the community. And he's not within 5 states range of an off the field issue. I'm not trying to overhype up a guy that's got all the hype in the world, but I think there's a chance we are underrating how great it is to have this sort of superstar as the face of your franchise. And that's why this quarterback competition, I think that's why people care about it so much. Because this isn't Randy Moss at the end of his run where there's a lot of tension. Like, you've got a willing, active, amazing community member participant that just wants the ball and wants to deliver for you.
Yeah. And what JJ wants more than anything else is to win, and I'm talking Justin Jefferson. I mean, he had so many opportunities really the last couple of years
Mhm.
to voice some frustration about this franchise going forward and what they have at the quarterback spot. And he's always taking the high road. He's always saying the right thing.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is that he has a way of pulling it off. Maybe it's the shades. I don't know,
It's
but
gotta be the
he's
glasses.
it's
He
got to be the
pulls it
shades.
off.
He pulls it off in a way that we all know that it's taking the high road, and we all know that there's a level of company line that he's towing, but he does it in a way that does sound sincere,
Mhm.
if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
There's still a genuality. Again, there's a word I think I just made up. There's a genuineness to the way that he says those things where it's like, yeah, we know that you could say more, and we know that this is probably not how you really feel, but it's all good, you know. We know what you know, wink wink, we kind of know what you mean, and we don't hold his feet to the fire over anything that he says.
What do you Let me ask you a crazy fan question, 'cause I think he's such a special generational talent. He just turned 26 in June. So you're walking into these prime 26, 27, 28, 29 years where you are the best version of yourself. And I I'm curious. I think about that Adrian Peterson year coming off the injury.
Mhm.
And he almost gets the record. Everything's stacked against him and he's still producing. I think that AP year is on the short list of greatest individual seasons by any player at any position in the history of the NFL.
Mm.
And I always kind of assumed Jefferson had the potential to put one of those on the board. Now, I care more about winning than I do that, but I thought he had the potential to put some 2,000 yards crazy where everybody goes, well, we're going to talk about this for 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, with the uncertainty in the quarterback room, out in the future, do you think it's possible? Like, what do you think the odds are he puts one of those crazy seasons up in the next 3 or 4 years?
In the next 3 or 4, I would say highly likely.
Okay, you do.
Yeah, but I think that, obviously the difference is when you're comparing running backs is just the number of opportunities, and
Yeah.
I know that you can make the argument with a running back. It's like, well, you
Yeah,
have to have,
you can't incomplete a hand. I mean, I guess you can, but
you can, but I was gonna say, well, you have to have the blocking up front and all this
Mhm.
other stuff. But AP was so special that I remember even when he was on a historic run. I had a lineman friend that didn't play for the Vikings, but it was just saying like, this offensive line's getting a lot of credit, but man, I mean, so many of his
Mhm.
big runs are just AP being AP. They're not doing
Mhm.
their job up front, and he's just creating opportunities for himself. It's way more difficult for a wide receiver to do that, for the obvious reason. So, um, listen, Justin's, he's been close before, so I think that he definitely has it in him. If we can find that true quarterback that can fit this system, then yeah, I think in his prime years he could eclipse that mark for sure.